It's a time for more packages from China. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video we are going to take a close look at the RG503 from Anbernic. So when I started reviewing these products from China, man, like they were shitting them out like crazy, but they were like very cheap. But now when it comes to Anbernic, they are like releasing a lot of high quality products and they are going to the maximum level of like releasing these devices. So this latest model does have some minor upgrades. To begin with, it comes with an OLED display and yeah, it just looks amazing, and it has some improvements here and there. And also it's more comfortable and it has better audio quality than some previous models. And when I'm holding the handheld like this, you can see like the form factor of the handheld is not like straight that we have seen before. They added some extra grips to it. It's absolutely amazing. And even some extra grip. So when you're holding the handheld, you can just feel that it is absolutely better than some models I've reviewed here on the channel when it comes to Powkiddy or Anbernic. Also with the shoulder buttons, they did an improvement, something I was just basically very excited about. When you're looking closely to the R2 button, you can see over here, they basically did some changes over there. And especially when you're holding the handheld like this, you can see it more clearly. Here we do have like a higher button, and when you're holding it, putting your finger on it, it's so much easier to press. And they just made a big improvement when it comes to the second shoulder buttons. Another thing I personally don't like is the D-pad on this thing. Or it's more like a mixed feeling, let's put it this way. So if you just want to play some fighting games, I'm just going to be honest, the feel when you just get it out of the box is absolutely amazing. But you want to play some fighting games, you're noticing that the moves don't come out every single time. And I think the main reason is that it's having just too much of a travel and I'm missing out the feel. Let us look at it from the different angle. And the reason why, because when you're looking at the D-pad, it got a very nice long travel like the RG503, but it's just amazing when you're playing some platformers. But the touch is not great for fighting games. The joystick that come with the handheld, in my opinion, they are positioned perfectly over here. Sometimes you try to like mess it up and switch it with the D-pad, but it's more like a personal thing. And these are like the same quality that we have seen on Nintendo Switch. And hoping not for the drifting part, but more like the feel, and of course it also has the click. Here at the left side we're going to get ourselves the on and off switch over here, like a lot of these devices. At the bottom part we do have the option for entering 2 SD cards, one for the firmware and another one for the storage. We have a reset button over here, some extra speakers, and those speakers over here at the bottom, I must say that I find them very nice and they sound amazing. That is one of the very positive sides of this new model. But before we're going to take a close look at the display itself, let's remove the screen protector. And this is going to be quite a challenge because it's underneath the plastic. So I'm going to be like shutting down the system and I'm going to be very gentle with this. Because this is just a very scary thing. I understand they just slap the freaking display in and just leave the screen protector on, but this is something that we need to remove. Oh, I just want to point out that it also comes including the toilet paper manual, with some good explanation I must say, Type-C cable, but the most important thing, we do get some wipes, and if you want to, we do have an extra screen protector over here, or the real screen protector, so it's a very good thing. I'm not going to use it for now, but later on, let's slap it on. So we already spoken about the shoulder buttons. Then we're going to get ourselves 2 USB connections over Type-C, and we're going to have even a headphone jack out for the people who love to use headphones, and we're going to get an HDMI functionality out. But if you want to use the HDMI functionality, the first thing you need to do is reboot your system if you already have powered on. And what you can see over here, it runs like a charm, and I think that's a really cool feature. So basically you can use this thing like a freaking retro game system. But when playing a game, you don't have the option to use the screen. You don't need it anyway, because you're plugging it into a freaking television. But I think it's a cool feature that we do have nowadays on like a more expensive handheld like Anbernic. And cheap device I've seen in the past also had this option and works like the game says perfectly. But again, it's a great feature and the TV out function works plug and play. So let's plug it out and let's see what happens. Will it boot up into the menu? Nope, because you need to reboot the system again. Yep, long live the reset button over here. I've reset it and now you can see that it will boot up into the display of the freaking device. Here you go. Handheld. Well, let's talk about the all famous OLED display. So what are we going to get with this? And also doing a quick side-by-side comparison with... Shut the hell up with your freaking music. try it again. But I think the number one reason why you should pick up a device like this is of course the display itself. They are advertising this new model with the OLED version. It's a Samsung full view that has a resolution of 960 by 544. But I can say like this model is absolutely great when it comes to the display. So let's lower the brightness of my studio lamps, and you can see that now you can see that this basically that display comes to life. And it's absolutely indeed a full view panel. And that is what makes this thing absolutely stands out beside the other ones. But let's do a quick side by side with some other Anbernic products. So here's side by side comparison with three models from Anbernic. Over here we're going to get ourselves the RG351V. Then we're going to get ourselves the new model, the Retro Game 552. And here we're going to get the 503. So when you're looking at this model, it's absolutely like a big difference when you're looking at the color aspect ratio. And I mean when you're looking at the different panels, especially when you're looking at the OLED, then we're going to get like a big difference with the colors. And I must say that I don't know if it's going to be like the best thing you ever seen. So when you're looking side by side with three different handhelds from Anbernic, we're not going to talk about resolutions or screen measurements. We're just going to talk about like the colors. I really like the colors on a normal IPS display. But when you're looking at the OLED, it looks slightly like more crisp and clear, but still got this weird bluish color over it. I don't know if this is an OLED problem in general, because I also have seen it with my Nintendo Switch. So if you just hold it in your own and you're just playing some games, you will not really notice it. But if you're looking at these two handhelds, of course this one goes around 150 euros, this one go over 200 euros. But I just wanted to show you what is possible when it comes to two displays and all the functionalities. And here you can see like, you can still mess around with the brightness settings, stuff like that. But when you're looking closely, you can see like still, I don't have any issue that the bottom version hasn't like really got an OLED display. To be honest, it looked maybe nice, but in the end, just give me a normal IPS LCD display, it's good enough. Alright, so let's take a close look at the weight. And the reason is very simple. When I was holding this Anbernic model, I must say it feels, or I get this plastic fantastic feel to it. But when you're putting it on the scale, you can see this thing weighs 338 grams. And let's give you a quick comparison with the 351V, the Woody edition. This thing feels very solid, feels very nice. But when you're looking at the weight itself, it's lighter than the OLED. So you know what I'm seeing, it's like something, it's kind of funny. You think like, hey, is this thing weighted so less? But no, it's absolutely like, it's even like heavier than the freaking Woody Game Boy. And when you compare this with this beast of a device, this thing weighs even 357 grams. But when you're holding a device like with this of this weight, I can say like, you need to go to the gym. Because, oh man, this thing feels like a beefcake device. Or you're going to get beefcake arms from this. But yeah, that's basically the difference what you're going to get with the OLED, the RG352, or I think did I say it right or did I say it wrong? I don't know, man, you know. Oh yeah, 552. Man, those names, oh man, ugh, instant brain fart for me. Alright guys, so let's take a close look at the specification list. So when you're looking at the spec list, it's still the Rock chip, something that we have seen before, the Rock chip 3566. And basically I do like the Rock chip in general, and it gives such more like potential when you're looking at the chip-to-chip models I've reviewed in the beginning of the channel. But when you're looking at the specs and you think here we're having like the OLED model, you expect to have more power so we can play more games. But how will this specification translate to the gameplay or the emulation performance? Let's talk about that and let's try some games. But let's take a close look at the device and what it is capable of. So when you're looking at the game list, it's absolutely amazing when you can play, or better said, platform list, because there's so much stuff you can play nowadays. It's absolutely crazy. But when you're looking at the low end stuff, think about 8-bit, 16-bit, that run just fine, man. You can play it on cheaper models, but particularly when you want to look at the higher stuff, Sega Dreamcast, and that stuff like that, that is more like the demanding. PlayStation 1 is the same story, it will run just fine on this handheld. We have seen cheaper ones that runs it perfectly, but with Sony PlayStation Portable, there we're going to get the biggest challenge. And we do have some issues, of course, if you want to load up God of War, stuff like that. Okay, so let's rip off the bandage and just check out what we're going to get with the PlayStation Portable. It runs on OpenGL, which you can see over here. So we do have frame skipping set to 1 already, and it runs on 1x resolution. So this is basically what you're going to get with it. So PlayStation Portable will be like a very, let's say, a bumpy ride. But let's try some games. Let's set the FPS meter and let's see if we can have even some fun with this. I must say, absolutely The sound of this thing is absolutely amazing. So the audio problem is still an issue, but you can basically like swap the audio volume by pressing select and use the L1 or the R1. Well, you can see like it does have some hiccups. It's a really bumpy ride. Oh, that audio. But when you want to play some PlayStation 1, that's not going to be an issue whatsoever. Another thing, you cannot really hear it, but what I find very cool, that we do have vibration function in this handheld, and it works very well with the PlayStation emulator. The first thing that really annoys me is that I can do some moves with this game, but I do have a big handicap. See, I cannot get any move out with this freaking D-pad. Such an annoying thing. Let's see, let's try it again. See, a single time I can do it, but twice is absolutely freaking... I just want to say it's freaking impossible, but it is possible, but it's quite annoying, let's put it that way. But when you're looking at the just two-dimensional stuff like MAME runs just fine. Neo Geo. Now I think if you don't have any handheld in your collection and you just want to have something special, maybe this can be an interesting option. But if you just have like some old Anbernic laying around or a Pow Kitty that can play these things, you don't need to get a new handheld for that. Okay, so next up I wanted to try out some Sega Dreamcast. But out of the box it seemed to be running just fine. Alright, so next up let's try some Mortal Kombat the MAME. And I must say, like, when you're looking at MAME, take consideration Killer Instinct will not run with this. So I know like a lot of people will ask me that otherwise in the freaking comments. Nope, not going to fall for that. Those freaking cheating computers, seriously. You know how this works? Just punch them in the balls. Punch him in the balls. And if that doesn't work, what you can do is like try to freeze the guy and just punch him in the balls. Come on. No, 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 no. Punch him in the balls. Ah, oh, damn it, it doesn't work. Alright, so next up let's try some open bore, a system that I really love to play on these devices. And another thing is like, it's amazing when it comes to the D-pad. So where I basically hate it for fighting games, I love it when it comes to two-dimensional, let's say, games. Think about indie games, adventure games, but also for the shmups and the beat-em-ups, it works amazing. Yeah, we'll go, shut up. But okay guys, so what do I think of this new OLED edition? The form factor of this device, I personally really love it. And maybe this thing does have like a cheap feel to it. I mean like cheap, not like cheap to the cheap what I've seen with $20 ones, more like a light feel cheap. It's very nice, it's very comfortable to play in my opinion for a very long time. And this nice curving like shell is absolutely amazing. But the things I personally don't like. I already mentioned a couple of times that the D-pad is not one of my favorite ones. If you want to play some fighting games, that's going to be an issue, absolutely. But other thing I also don't like are the buttons over here at the right side. And that I really mentioned it in the beginning. The touch itself, it's a similar touch that we have on the long travel ones. But the thing I really don't like about this is that my B button was even getting stuck after playing some open bore. And that is that's a little bit of an issue if you ask me. And quite disappointing. While you're looking at this device, I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm more like, we started so good when you're looking at the shell, the way how it feels, how it plays. And I mean, like, especially when you're holding it for a very long time, I'm excited about it. But when you're looking at the buttons, quality and just the D-pad, I'm not a big fan. And in my opinion, that is a little bit of a deal breaker for me. The display, when looking at other devices, is a very nice display, but it is not like that special touch in saying I'm going to get rid of my old Anbernic or other Powkiddy device, for example, and just going to get myself the latest one. Especially when you're looking at the power of it. I want to thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think of this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell. It would be great to see you in the next video, and if you joined the Wicked family. The Wicked family, you know, mamma mia!